Top Canadian defense officials back F-35 acquisition as Prime Minister weighs full procurement decision. So Canada is about to drop billions on fighter jets that we may or may not actually want. Our military says we need them. Our neighbors to the south have us questioning everything. And somewhere in Ottawa, Prime Minister Mark Carney is probably stress-eating poutine while deciding the future of our Air Force. Welcome to Canada Bulletin, where we break down the news that actually matters. And today? Oh boy, do we have a spicy one for you. All right, picture this. It's 2025, and Canada is still flying fighter jets that are older than most TikTok users. I'm talking about our Boeing F divided by -18A Hornets. Jets that first took to the skies when people were watching the original Top Gun in theaters. Yeah, the one with all the volleyball and questionable dialogue. These bad boys are so old. They're practically held together with Tim Hortons coffee and good intentions. And according to Deputy Defense Minister Stephanie Beck, they must be replaced by 2032. Not should be. Not it would be nice if. Must. That's government speak for these things are about to fall out of the sky. So back in 2023, Canada did what any sensible country would do. We picked a replacement. The Lockheed Martin F-35A Lightning II. Sleek, stealthy, and so advanced it makes our Hornets look like they belong in a museum. Which, let's be honest, they kind of do. The plan? 88 of these fifth-generation beauties. The contract? Signed, sealed, and ready to deliver. The problem? Well, gestures broadly at everything. Donald Trump happened. Here's where things get juicy, folks. Remember when Canadian-American relations were just about hockey rivalries and arguing over who invented basketball? Good times. Well, those times are dead. Trump 2.0 rode back into the White House in January, and somehow, he's managed to make Canada-U.S. relations worse than they've been in a century. 100 years. We're talking trade wars, sovereignty smack talk, and enough political drama to make a Real Housewives episode look boring. And suddenly, Canadians are side-eyeing their planned purchase of American fighter jets like, wait, are we sure about this? It's like planning to buy your neighbor's car right after they keyed yours and put a passive-aggressive note on your door about your lawn. Technically, it's still a good car. But do you really want to give them the money? Now here's the kicker. And I mean this is where it gets really interesting. We've already committed to buying 16 F-35s. That money's gone. Those jets are happening whether we like it or not. The RCIF is getting at least 16 of these things. The question keeping everyone up at night? Do we go full send and buy all 88, or do we pump the brakes at 16 and figure out Plan B? And that decision, my friends, rests entirely on the shoulders of Prime Minister Mark Carney. No pressure, Mark. Just, the future of Canada's air defense. NBD. So while politicians are doing their political thing, Canada's actual military brass stood before Parliament on October 7th and basically said, guys, we really need these planes. Lieutenant General Jamie Spicer Blanchet, commander of the Royal Canadian Air Force, was refreshingly straightforward. She's committed to giving the Prime Minister all the information he needs to make a decision. Translation? Please let us have the planes. And Stephanie Beck? She's out here saying the Defense Department is going full steam ahead with the original plans until someone tells them to stop. That's the bureaucratic equivalent of, we're doing this unless you physically tackle us. Why are they so insistent? Well, let me paint you a picture. Right now, Russia and China. Those totally friendly nations that definitely don't pose any threats whatsoever have fifth-generation fighters. That means stealth technology, advanced missiles, speeds that would make your head spin, and the ability to basically treat our current Hornets like vintage arcade games. Meanwhile, Canada has NORAD obligations. You know NORAD, right? The joint Canada-U.S. defense thing that literally protects North American airspace? Yeah, we need to scramble jets when Russian aircraft come poking around Alaska and northern Canada, which happens a lot. Plus, we've got NATO commitments in Eastern Europe, air policing missions, international obligations that require, functional modern aircraft, as Beck so eloquently put it. Quite simply, our current fighter, the Hornet, does not meet the need. Mic drop, end of discussion. Case closed. So what happens if Carney says, no thanks to the full 88 F-35s? Well, awkward silence. That's where things get complicated. Buy a mixed fleet. Maybe throw in some Saab Gripen E/FS or Dassault Rafales, fourth-generation fighters that are still pretty solid but not quite as fancy. Pair those with a smaller number of F-35s. Retired RCF officers are already side-eyeing this idea hard. Running a mixed fleet means double the training, double the parts, double the maintenance headaches, and double the budget nightmares. It's like trying to fix both a Tesla and a 1994 Honda Civic in the same garage. Technically possible, but why would you do that to yourself? Find another fifth-generation fighter. There aren't any. The F-35 is literally the only Western fifth-generation stealth fighter in active production. That's it. That's the list. It's not like we can just pop over to Fighter Jet Costco and browse the alternatives. Wait for sixth-generation fighters. Sure, they'll be ready in checks notes, nobody knows when. Meanwhile, our Hornets will be held together with duct tape and prayers until 2032. Spicer Blanchet did mention that the RCF will temporarily operate a mixed fleet anyway as they transition from Hornets to F-35s. And she hinted that someday, maybe possibly in the distant future, Canada might pursue sixth-generation fighters, which would also mean a mixed fleet. But here's the thing. All roads seem to lead back to the F-35, because when you're choosing between the best available option and nothing, the choice becomes pretty obvious. Now, before you start thinking this is just about military hardware, let me throw another wrench into the works. Jobs. 30 Canadian companies, 30, are currently contracted to supply parts for new F-35s. That's factories, workers, engineers, and entire communities whose livelihoods are tied to this program. And get this, 75% of F-35 costs are related to maintenance and upkeep, most of which will be done right here in Canada. That's not just buying planes, folks. That's buying economic activity, jobs, and industrial capacity. So if Carney decides to cancel the full order, he's not just telling the military, sorry, no new toys. He's also telling Canadian manufacturers, hey, remember that business we promised you? Yeah, about that. The government was supposed to release a report on all this by the end of summer. That deadline has come and gone faster than my New Year's resolutions. So we're all just sitting here, waiting, watching, and wondering what's going to happen. Oh,